Hello folks and welcome to Tippcast with myself Shane Stapleton, with the head of sport in the Nenagh, Guardian Shane Brophy, and with Gary Toome, who of course we're all here all the time doing the commentary on Clubber. Lads, how are you getting on?
Not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad, Shane, not too bad. Rested up after that weekend.
Jesus, yeah, six matches he did, by Jesus, lads.
Don't tell the next
Has he any voice?
Shane, we'll start off with yourself, and we're going to come to the matches, of course, but we've seen now the quarterfinal draws, the relegation permutations, the whole lot. Hey, look, they've pitted us against each other. Borris-Ileigh against Roscrea, or Lorrha. You're not a Roscrea man, against Lorrha in the relegation. Sure, you knew it would happen.
Sure.
As soon as both teams went into relegation, you and I both knew.
Probably, yeah. Sure. I suppose we Lorrha were the team all the other three teams wanted to get. Like, I'm sure there's
the poor mountain
Borris-Ileigh there last night. Like, so. Look, sure, no, it's like we always said we could do with a bigger North or more North Championship games. We're going to have three more of them now. So look, I would say maybe we were going into last weekend. I suppose we'd have expected to be in relegation. Maybe if the things were, I don't think Borris-Ileigh would have been expected into it. So I suppose how they shape up in the next 3 weeks will be interesting. Like that. Yeah, that was a fascinating, just the headline in the Examiner that I completely forgot it, that Borris-Ileigh were top seeds for a quarter final at half time on Saturday, and half an hour later they're out with a champion or in relegation. So I know there was complaints over the weekend and maybe about is it the group stage is a little short, but geez, it just proves that every game matters. Like, I know the drama was in round 3, but if you take your eye off the ball in round 1 or 2, it could end up costing you come the end of it.
Gary, wasn't he poor mountain throughout there? You know, Borris were top. You know, we were expecting to go into relegation. He's poor mountain away, isn't he?
He's a good politician, I'll tell you that for sure. Well, come here, back to the point there about every point matters. Like, not to bring it up, Shane, apologies, but that game obviously against Nenagh, we were all going away that day. You were probably expected to finish bottom of the group, so that score that Nenagh put up was absolutely meaningless. But obviously, he caused a shock probably the weekend, and then obviously it came to fruition that Jake's 4 or 5 that day got them through, you know. And then I suppose Holy Cross were through at one stage, Nenagh were gone. It was just an unbelievable weekend, and the Burst and Drum game, I'm sure we'll get to it eventually, but that was just, it was just, for you, Shane, I know it's probably sore, but it was probably one of the games of the weekend because it was just old style hurling, Route 1 stuff, long puck outs, back your forest to win the balls, and yeah, it was just a great weekend it was.
Yeah, okay, we'll bring up the draw here, Shane. You might go through it for us.
Yeah, so the draw was made last night. So yeah, I suppose we have 4 North v Meath quarter finals, so like it's probably worked out well for that. We're good with cross divisional matchups. Thurles Sarsfields against Nenagh, the two town clubs. Like, I met last year in the preliminary quarter final. Thurles won by a couple of points, but I think actually it's a great draw for Nenagh. I think over the years they've always played, even when Thurles were at their peak in the last decade. Nenagh were always able to beat Thurles, and we were able to beat them regularly enough. And I think they bet them in the 2020 quarter final too. So, like, I think that won't phase Nenagh in the slightest. Kiladangan and Moycarkey, I think Kiladangan are just pouring at the moment very, very well. But look, that's a big but we want to be very, very wary of Moycarkey. Like, Moycarkey have absolutely nothing to lose. Like, they get into a quarter final for, I think it was the first time in over 30 years. Like, it's a big deal for them into the stadium. But I think it's the Kiladangan might be just a step too far at this stage. Loughmore against Kilarowan. Like, Loughmore are just moving nicely now, and they're going to have 2 weeks to refresh themselves before they play Kilarowan, and I think Loughmore could get through there. And Toome against Brackens, I think this one is very, very hard to call. And I know you're looking at the score of the Brackens at the weekend and they were poor, but maybe mentally they'd switched off in that game, knowing they'd already qualified. And like, I'm not saying they're a one-man team, but if you take Paddy Cadell out of that team, and we saw it last year when he was injured, there's just a completely different animal. I don't know what, he's just the spiritual leader of that group, and like, I'd say they'll be hoping that whatever injury he picked up against Art Finnan last week in the football will come right in the next few weeks. I'd assume probably he won't play against Clonoulty this weekend in the football to make sure he's right for Toome, because I think if I think if they're at full strength, that's a 50-50 game for me against Toomevara.
Okay, well, we'll come to all that a little bit more as we review the games, but just, I suppose we'll start off and do the groups in order. Kiladangan, they were in a great position to beat Toome at one stage, but Toome, very, very strong performance down the line, 220 to 119. What did you make of this one, Gary?
Yeah, again, for sure, it's the man, Darragh McCarthy again. He just stood up yet again for Toome. Like, I'm sure he's going to be in Willeen next year. He has to be. His performances this year have just been so consistent, and his physicality he's bringing to the game. And Toome, or Kiladangan, couldn't live with him. I think there was 3 different lads in him. Craig went in on him one stage, got a yellow card. He just nearly single-handedly dragged Toome over the line, and I think Toome are purring nicely. They, I suppose, the performance against Drum, the first half performance against Drum was absolutely excellent. Probably disappointing with the second half. Got over the line against Kiladangan, not in, I suppose, a spectacular fashion, but that game against Brackens, I think, as Shane says, is probably the closest game of the 4 in the quarterfinals. But Kiladangan will be, considering the lads who were missing from the last day, I think Thomas Williams and the lads, they'll be happy enough with that performance and going into a quarterfinal under the radar, no pressure on them whatsoever compared to last year. And yeah, I think all the pressure's on Toome now in the quarterfinal against Brackens. Yeah,
like Toome ended up finishing top of the group. Kiladangan were obviously in a great spot going into it, Shane. But geez, that was a fair way for Toomevara to end the game.
Yeah, no, I was at this one. Yeah, no, it was a disappointing game. No, I really thought it'd be, with what was at stake, there'd be a bit more to it. Like, there was the first 15 minutes, I think there was only maybe 1 or 2 points in play. Like, it was very, very scrappy stuff. Then Connor Austin and Mark McCarthy got stuck into each other, and it seemed to get everybody going. Like, I suppose it just needed that some bit of an edge. Like, and it improved a little bit from there. Like, I thought Toome were full value for the win. Like I said, like Darragh McCarthy, he just looks back to his best now. He had a ferocious first 6 months of the year in terms of the demands on him, and I did think towards the back end of the under-20 championship and even the All-Ireland final against Offaly, he didn't look, I don't know where, he didn't look fit. He didn't look at 100% to me. Like, and even that, when he got that point against Cork, he just, the edge, the spark wasn't there. It's back now. He looks like he's refreshed again. He's got a chance to have a breather. Like, he's just, I just love the spikiness about him. Like, he's the first ball that went in, he won a free off James Cleary. I'd say he definitely made sure Conor Doyle knew which was a free. Like, he's very, very good at making sure that any contact from a defender, he makes sure he makes the most of it. Like, and then, geez, in the second half, like, he had, as Gary said, he had their full backline of James Cleary was booked in the concession of the penalty. He had one goal chance. He had another goal chance that fizzed over the bar. I think he had another one off Aaron Morgan. Aaron Morgan got booked. Then Craig went in on top of him. Like, he just Toomevara played him brilliantly, and particularly Darren Delaney at centre forward. Like, I think, like, people are always remember Darren as a real good solid half back, but Ken Dunn has looked at that team and said, "Look, I need a bit of leadership, bit of experience in that half forward line." And I thought the amount of scores Delaney set up, he mightn't be the quickest in distributing, but he always makes the right decision. I thought he was very, very effective for Toome. I thought I got the match program here. There were some very, very good individual battles. I thought Liam Ryan held, going back, and Cian Darcy was very good. Cian got 1-2, but I think that was a win. And like, it started to negate the likes of Thomas Cleary, Niall O'Mara fitted in and out. Willie Cleary got his, I think it was about 12 points, but he missed a couple of ones, maybe 1 or 2 that he would usually get. Cian O'Kelly, I thought, very effective in the air. But no, I thought for Toome, look, they've had a good season. Like, you think their group was one bad first half against Borris-Ileigh. That's all they've had this year. Like, they were very, very competitive in the North final against Kiladangan. A bad first half against Borris-Ileigh that ended up costing them the game. But ever since that, they've been very, very good. So I think they're full value for winning the group.
Anything further to say on that one, Gary, or we move on to the next game?
No, just again, like I keep saying, Toome, they're purring nicely, and they're progressing every day. They go out again, as you said. Shane said that game against Borris-Ileigh, performance-wise, is probably the poorest of the year, but even at that, it wasn't terribly bad. But no, they're purring nicely. Really nice young team. Ken is doing the job there, and again, as I keep saying, they're a team there for the next 2 or 3 years, I think.
Yeah, okay. The other game in that group then, Drom and Inch, 27 points, Borris-Ileigh 219. And we all know that that's Drom safe and Borris-Ileigh down into the relegation trapdoor for now. And Borris-Ileigh were 9 points ahead at one stage. Yet again, another storming first half from Borris going in ahead at half time. But it's basically the same old story. In the 3 games, leading after the first half, played with the wind in the first half. And I know, obviously, look, that can be different on different days, but there was a similarity between the 3 games. And Shane, the first day held on against Toome. Second day were beaten at the very, very end by Kiladangan. And again, beaten here really, really late on when in a position to win. If you go across the 3 games in the groups, Borris have lost the second halves by a combined 21 points. So that'll kind of tell you the story.
Yeah, and again, I suppose it is a trend. I guess we just what we're seeing. Like I know wind did play a part in an awful lot of games last weekend. Like so, there was no doubt Drom were going to come back, but like you would have thought maybe with the likes of Brendan and Dan, especially, and maybe and a lot of experience in that half back line that Seamus Berkeley and Ryan, that they would have had enough maybe to close it out. But like, was it 15 points they conceded in the second half? Like, in fairness to Drom, like they really picked it up, and I suppose they had to. Like, there was really like Drom. Like, I suppose they created a rod for the run back in Drom when they pulled out of the football and they went all in on hurling this year, and they hadn't won a game. Like, they'd lost their mid-championship game, they'd lost their first 2 rounds of the county. They really had to show something. And like we know, you look at the teeth that they're starting 15, like they're full of talent, and they finally produced it. Like, and they've just got themselves out of relegation just in time. I'm sure it's one that's flummoxed and Borris-Ileigh at the moment, and how you would have said like a team that experienced sort of is being caught the same way. And like, you take the Toomevara match they won, like Toome had a couple of goal chances at the very end where they could have reeled them in. Like, I think we were 10 points up at one stage, Borris-Ileigh, in that game. Like, so like they're starting matches brilliantly, as I say, but like it's definitely something now where going forward, like if anybody that I know we're playing them next, like if any team that's even remotely has some bit of a deficit against Borris-Ileigh, you know that if you get it's not impossible to reel them back in.
Gary?
Yeah, this game was lost in the last 5 minutes of the first half. Drom got the last 6 of the 8 scores before half time. So the 9-point deficit went down to 6 right before half time. That's where it was won and lost. Simple as that, because the wind was massive in Holy Cross. I don't think anyone who wasn't there didn't realise how big it was. Owen Collins' puckouts in the second half were landing down to the first 14 and 6-yard box, and that was their route. That was a routine for the whole second half. But Owen Collins' restarts in the second half were absolutely electric. Myself and Dennis were there writing down our notes. By the time we were notes written down, the ball was down the far square. So Borris, anytime they went up the field, they had no chance of regrouping and getting their shape back together. The amount of times Drum forwards had free space in the 45 inside 21 from Owen Collins' puckouts was unbelievable. But again, brutally frustrating from a Borris-Ileigh point of view. Gee, that game was dead and buried. I'd say after 20 minutes, they were in full control. Paddy McCormick was ruling the roast. He was so impressive in that first half. He worked hard in the second half as well. John McGrath, cornerback, was doing an unbelievable job inside the full back line. But I don't know. I'd say there was some soul searching done in Finn's, I'd say, Saturday night, because that game was completely lost in 5 minutes of hurling before the first half. Yeah,
I definitely don't want to sound like I'm making any excuses here, but I thought sometimes the quick puckouts were allowed unbelievably quick. It was a bit like, the way Cork benefited so much in the semi-final against Limerick, and then maybe they weren't allowed as quick a puckouts against Clare in the final. And look, I'm not saying it decided it, but certainly Drum being allowed to go as quick as they were, that definitely helped them, Gary.
Oh, geez, 100%. But again, I'm not too sure if the referee has to blow the whistle or not, because we weren't hearing any whistle being blown. Owen was just gone. That was it. But again, look, playing to the referee's rules, fair play to him for taking full advantage. But maybe that's something Borris-Ileigh selector should come into the field and said to a linesman or said to a referee, because it was completely the change of the second half. So the 5 minutes before half time, Eddie missed a free in front of the goals as well. They got 6 of the last 8 scores, and then the puckouts in the second half. So look, Borris lost that game for me more than Drum winning it.
Yeah,
and just before I just think it's a refreshing trend. I think in a lot of the tip games this year, how much direct hurling there is now compared. Like, I just think for years I thought, God, is the club going to get infested with all the short pats and stuff, and maybe a lack of contest? But I just think it's refreshing the amount of teams that are playing old style traditional hurling there, like long puck outs. There's not too many playing the short stuff. Like it's like you'll mix up the few odd short puck outs, but there's not too many teams trying to work the ball through the lines. And I think, look, it's leading to some very, very. We want entertainment, we want a bit of excitement, and I think we're getting that. I just think it's kind of refreshing that there's still a bit of traditional hurling still out there.
I'd love to know how much of that is like by design and how much is it because, like, let's say, for example, if you know that my team is going to play short and we've gotten quite good at it, you know from the get-go you're probably going to press up on me.
Yeah.
So almost, I've no choice but to go along then, because how can you go short if you've, hit a 30-yard ball to me if I've got someone right on my shoulder? So maybe it's counteracting the short style.
Yeah.
And if everyone starts to go long, it'll go back the other way and teams will start sitting back again, and then you'll have to go short. So I think it's one of the good things that football doesn't have the option of going 100 yards and being effective. And that's why the game has been damaged so much by it. I thought David Collins going into the full forward line, like he picked off a few scores. Gary, he'd been fairly quiet. Obviously, Seamus Callan as well. Yeah. And his free taking, it was like nerves of steel stuff. But I definitely thought that David Collins going high up the pitch made a big difference after a very quiet first half.
Come here, and it's no disrespect to David. I forgot he was even playing up until 45 minutes, and all of a sudden he gets 3 points in the space of 3-4 minutes, and the game completely turns, and the whole momentum changed. He got 2 points in the space of 30 seconds or a minute, and the whole momentum just completely changed. It's not that he was lost out in midfield. These games happen where games just go by you. But yeah, you're hit the nail on the head. He completely changed the momentum. And actually, when David went in, Shamey came out. And Shamey did a lot of sweeping around the middle third. It was just, and sure, look, Shamey wound back the clock. I thought he was absolutely exceptional. He was working like an absolute dog. Himself and Brendan for the first 20 minutes going toe and toe. It was like the golden days when the boys were in school in Borris-Ileigh together, mark each other in training and stuff. But no, Shamey was excellent. But no, David going in full forward, that definitely changed the last 15 minutes of the game.
And early on, I was thinking, when Killarwan had scored all those goals against Drum the first day out with the long ball, and when Paddy McCormick, obviously, look, it wasn't a total by design sort of goal, but long ball into the area, bounces off him into the back of the net. I was wondering, Shane, is this going to cost Drum again? But obviously not, and serious steal to come back and win this game.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, look, it's like, I suppose there was always probably going to be a reaction, I suppose, maybe the fact it was Borris-Ileigh were playing last, like it probably just drew that extra bit out of themselves as well. And I suppose a little bit of satisfaction that even though Drum haven't qualified, they've put their neighbours in relegation trouble, like so.
Yeah. Okay, we'll move on to the next group, where we know that Thurles, they won fairly well against Roscrea. That finished up 228 to 114. Is this more about Thurles being that good, or a continuation of Roscrea's fairly average season, Shane?
Sure, a mix of both, and then sure you don't really know. Like, it was a dead rubber game, like, so you would have thought how fully invested were Roscrea. I'm sure, look, they would have wanted to use the game as a good tune-up for relegation, like 228 to 114. Yeah, it's just, I'd say they're very, very short on confidence at the moment. Look, it's another good win for Thurles, 3 on the bounce, but I still don't know what to make of Thurles. I think, like, they've won all their games in the group fairly comfortably. Is that, I'm not sure that sets them up well for the quarter final against Nenagh. I just think they would have liked to test. I know you can only beat what's in front of you, but like I do think that Nenagh game now is going to go to the wire. I think they're going to play this. I just, like, we know the Thurles have loads of ball players, but it's getting in those trenches, those tight games, like when, like, they weren't able to see it out against Loughmore in the mid quarter final. They weren't able to see it out against Kiladangan last year. So I suppose we'll probably get a better feel for Thurles in that quarter final. But look, Thurles did what they had to do.
Yeah, Gary, what would you prefer, having come through a group of death like Nenagh and Nenagh somehow finding their way through, or Thurles coasting through? There's not too many lads that we would say are obvious county challengers in their group.
I know it sounds stupid, but I'd much prefer the Nenagh way, because you've had so much thrown at you. You've had 2 or 3 really heavy battles. Apart from the Lorrha game, but you've had 2 really heavy battles. Everyone's probably talking down on you. You probably had a poor North Championship campaign, so I much prefer to be in Nenag's place at the moment. They've a hell of a lot more to prove than Thurles. And look, listen, this Thurles team, they've so much experience. They're not going to be subconsciously coming into this after having 3 easy games either. Paddy will have them absolutely up for this. They know that Nenagh is their bogey team for the last couple of years, and that is a tie in the quarterfinals by, I won't say a country mile, but it is the biggest game in the quarterfinals. So, sure, look, listen, it's a toss of a kind, but it's Thurles for me. Again, you just don't know what you're like with Kiladangan and Loughmore. I know what I'm getting with them every day to go out. With Thurles, I just don't know. But again, they're beating last year's beating county finalists, so we're probably not giving them enough respect. But again, it's just they're just a strange team to try to get a grasp of. But look, again, Roscrea has just been a year to completely forget for Roscrea. After last year, they probably should have won a county quarter final last year. Had a great year, first year back up from Premier Intermediate, but this year it's the bounce factor has really hit them.
Yeah, the other game in that group then, Moycarkey-Borris 2-19, Mullinahone 2-11. This was a de facto knockout clash, and there was a couple of goals from Max Hackett in the second half, made a big difference here. But Mullinahone were down to 14 for the second half. Owen Fennelly with a straight red, and Jack Hayes, I think we might have seen the old image flying around that, he took a serious stunt to the teeth, so hopefully he can recover from that as soon as possible. But fair play to Moycarkey. They found a way through here. What was, a pressure game, Shane?
Yeah, no, I honestly did fancy Mullinahone. I thought it was strange that when you players like Conor Whelan and Mikey O'Shea, I know they're away for the summer. Why would you hold them back on the bench? This was knockout hurling. I know they had the other lads had been playing up to this, but you put your best team on the field, as far as I'm concerned, when you get to this game, and they held them out.
But it's culture, Shane, at the same time. Like, if you're not rewarding lads who are there,
maybe so.
Everyone's well, I can piss off for a holiday, or I can do whatever, and it won't make a difference.
Maybe so, but I would think this is knockout hurling. Like, you have to go with, like, Conor Whelan is on the extended tip panel. Mikey O'Shea was on the, these guys were very close to making the tip squad this year. But look, the Mullinahone management made their own call. That's their right.
But it's not simple, Shane. Like we saw last year.
I know that myself. Yeah.
On the bench, like if you're a manager, you have this decision to make, and you can't just say, "Grand, sure, look, you're better than everyone else. Rules don't apply."
I get that. Look, I'm a part of the management team myself, but I think when it comes to knockout hurling, my own personal view is your best team plays, and that's it. Your best player starts. So, but yeah, I think it's a big win for Moycarkey. I think the first county quarter final they're through in over 30 years. So, look, I'm sure there was a bit of pressure building on Eddie Brennan, I suppose, to make something happen. Look, they got to a mid-final this year. We're very, very competitive with Loughmore up until the red card, and probably fell away a bit. So, look, I'm sure probably the one draw they didn't want in the knockouts was Kiladangan. But look, they're there now. I just think it's remarkable the depth they have. Kyle Shelley only came off the bench at the weekend. Joe Egan only came on. We know Joe he's had his injury problems over the last 12 months, but just shows you. And look, it's great to see Max Hackett firing. I think Max could be probably one that I'd like to see him getting a look in with Tip now again next year. I think he did have cruciate injury trouble in 2022, so he missed the year, but he looks supremely fit again. Just he's that sort of a Jamie Barron type player in the middle of the field. I think Tip could do with a bit of energy, a bit of legs. So great to see him flying it. I was surprised with I know there was the red card there, and it looked a terrible challenge. It really did. Mullinahone, I think, had the breeze in the second half. You said, how do you lose by 8 even if you're a man down? They must have really just tried to play the short game, even though the wind was there. But you say, how do you fall away like that, even with a man short? But for fair play to Moycarkey, they got the job done.
Yeah, Gary.
Yes, Moycarkey, I suppose they just need to find that consistency. they've plenty of talent, plenty of players. You can go through the whole team there, but they're just been so inconsistent. So maybe getting to a quarter final this year might kick him on. Look, I can't see him beating Kiladangan, but again, whether it depends how they react to that then as well, because there was a fair bit of pressure on it, I suppose, more so probably from outside circles and a lot of noise around him being in Moycarkey. But again, they're a classy team. They're a very, very good team, but they just need to find that consistency. And Mullinahone, again, I had them down. I thought they were going to win this game. Not handy, but I thought they'd win this game. And look, I won't get into talking about what management teams pick. That's for them, their own decision to pick. But from an outsider, yeah, you would have started the two boys. But again, that's an argument. You go down a rabbit hole talking about lads going away for the summer and hurling away. And so, no, look, Moycarkey, deserving winners. They need to find consistency. It'll mean absolutely F all if they don't put performance in against Kiladangan. Simple as that. So. Yeah,
just a couple of years ago, remember watching Max Hackett play for the under-20s. Just his ability to do those searing runs up the centre of a so it'll be very interesting to see if he does get his chance. Group 3 then. It's victory lap time, Shane, for you. Lorrha 5-16, Holy Cross Ballycahill 2-23. The other one, which will come to Loughmore 2-20, Nenagh 1-22. So how did you do it, Shane? You pulled a rabbit out of the hat.
So we keep being told anyway. So
well, after the Nenagh game, geez, come on, expectations were low outside anyway.
They were, but like I think I said it on the show last week. I said that Tuesday night after the Nenagh we had probably our best training session of the year. We just put it down as a bad night, and look, that can happen. Templederry had a bad day against Kiladangan. Brackens had a very bad day last weekend. I think it's something remarkable maybe among this generation of youngster lads in their 20s and 30s. They can put a bad experience away straight away. They just park it, and you could just say, okay, we'll move on to the next game. And you take a lot of our matches. All the matches this year, the 2 games against Nenagh and Loughmore, we started all those matches very well. So it's not that we've been starting badly and falling. It's the second quarters where we've been getting in trouble and we've been too far behind at half time. We got to half time only a point down, having played against the Breeze, got a couple of very, very good goals on McIntyre and Keane Hogan, Colin Fogarty. We managed to get Colin into situations around the half forward line where he was able to pick off long range points. So he was doing very well. I thought apart from Dara Woods, he was as good as we saw. We managed to keep the rest of the Holy Cross forwards in check. I would have thought holding Robbie Ryan to 3 points from play was a win. I thought Tom Duggan did very, very well on him. Then just speaking of another maybe potential tip player for next year, Joe Caesar. I thought he was very, very good and he's just so physical. They put him on. He's the man marker for every. I think he went on Jake as well against Nenagh. I like him. I think he had a great campaign for one of the Limerick schools. I think last year I just thought he's a real nuggety type of the defender, and there's a good size about him. But then look, do you know 22, 21, 22, 23. He's that right good age. Look, I suppose we got to the second half. Look, Dara Woods got the goal early in the second half, and look, we went 5 down, and he said, "Okay, we're in a bit of bother here." But as soon as we got the third goal from Chris Fogarty, but lads, I don't know if you've seen it, the pass from Bonner, lads. Christ, it was as smooth as silk, and Chris didn't even have to break his stride to get it. And once that went in, it was game on. We were sort of building up all week, lads, and we're saying, let's get this to the last 15 minutes. We're in it, because the Holy Cross are a fabulous team, but they're very young. They're 8 or 9 under 21s playing last weekend. And look, I think within the next 5 years, Holy Cross will win a county championship. I just think that if they keep them all together, they had that much talent. But we said keep it there. And look, we did suss out a vulnerability in their full back line, and if we pinged enough long ball in there, look, and in fairness to Brian O'Mara, he did cut out a lot of it, but some of the long ball we managed to turn into goals. One, Owen McIntyre got a break, and then Bonner's goal with a couple of minutes to go to put us ahead. And I suppose then you get ahead with a couple of minutes to go, and you think, okay, we just need to hold out from here. We wouldn't say we packed the defence, but we knew that if we conceded a goal, we were going to be all right. And I think word came through that Nenagh were going a point ahead. I said, Jesus, we're going to do this. And then I think Gary mentioned me on the commentary running across the sideline, and I got to the other side, and then I was talking to Conor Kennedy's father, and Conor Kennedy's father told me that Loughmore had gone a point up. I said, oh, Christ. It was just that's how quick the thing was changing from one side of the field to the other. But look, I suppose the way we looked at it afterwards, look, we did our own business. We got the win, and it wasn't enough, and we were hoping for a favour from Nenagh that didn't happen. But I don't know if you saw Twitter this morning. Shamie Morris, Jake's father, put up a screenshot. He's after buying a Lorrha lotto ticket for the next 10 weeks. As he said, it's great investment as a thanks to Lorrha for getting Nenagh through. So we would have hoping that maybe they would have at least maybe nicked a draw, maybe, or got a win against Loughmore. But sure, look, how's ever.
And I'd say your GPS was overheating by the end of that game, Shane. You were over and back.
Well, I made one run at the end just to try and G up the half forward line for one last push, but. Yeah, there it is. 20. But if more Nenagh people want to buy lotto tickets, or even people in general, get on the Club Force website there. With 6,800 jackpot there at the moment. But look, it was great. Look, I think the thing I said in the dressing room afterwards to the lads is, no matter what happened today, lads, you restored pride in the jersey, because look, what happened against Nenagh was humiliating. Like, you don't look 728 to 3-7. And look, we had. Personally, I don't think we garnered much respect from the hurling people in the county. Like, I think people thought we were the soft touch in senior. Sure, look, they're only Lorrha. You go back down. It's a nice story, but look, I think we didn't earn it with the results so far, but I think we've earned it now.
And geez, it was very much a case of pin the ears back and run at Holy Cross, Gary. Like, you think of the early goal from Owen McIntyre, pinned the ears, ran straight at them. Keane Hogan turned, rumbled through, and I think he kicked it to the net for a finish. Yeah. Like, there was an element of, we're just going to go straight through the front door and physically go at you.
Yeah, it was. And again, look, I was one of the doubters. I actually met Shane and Ken before the game to get the team, and I asked the boy as well, can he cause an upset today? And there was a dirty grin off the two lads, like a real confident, dirty grin off the two boys. And again, because I remember watching the show last week, Shane was saying they had a good training week. And look, it's easy to say these things, we're training well and this and that. But then I met the lads beforehand and I said, geez, okay, there could be a game on here, because on paper, Holy Cross should be winning that game. Let's call it a spade. They should be, but it was some performance. And that's given Niall McIntyre a massive mention in the middle of the park. He didn't score. But I'd say that Crater, he needs to rest up those legs this week in an ice bath every night, because he covered some amount of ground. Owen was exceptional, but you're dead right. Just running direct at the lads. And I don't know if it was a game plan, Shane, but Brian O'Mara, he was only in the game at stages. He kept the ball going long over him, or the lads were running outside from either side. Because I said it myself, and Mark Dunn said it in commentary, that he wasn't in the game. And that's not his own fault. He kept them out of the game. But yeah,
well, it was a little because we know the Templederry is a short field. I'd say there's not 8 yards between the 265s, and we said, and there was a bit of a breeze there, and we said, look, second half, Kevin, bomb it down, lads, bomb it down, like, because I had seen them, particularly their match against Brackens. I thought their inside backline was vulnerable if we got enough ball in there. And look, when you go direct, there's a decent chance you could lose a decent chunk of them, but if enough of them break your way, you're in for goals, and that's what happened.
Is it possible too, like, Holy Cross are, maybe lacking that bit of experience at the top end of the pitch, maybe just a little bit of physical power, and just too reliant on Dara Woods. I'm not sure, off the top of your head, Gary, do you know what age he is, or do you know?
Dara.
Yeah.
Dara, I think, is 23, 24 max. But no, I'd actually disagree with that. I don't think they're too reliant on him. He had an exceptional day. Geez, some of the scores. And look, everyone knows that he has in his locker. But Pádraig Russell, I thought, was very good as well. Robbie Ryan inside got 3 points in play. Two boys in the middle of the park, Ty Gold.
He's great potential.
He's just this, like, he's 6'3" or 6'4". When he fills out, like, he will be a tip senior hurler. There's no doubt about it. But like, he's under 19. Like, I think they've 3 or 4 under 19s playing themselves, and Toome are probably going to contest that 19 championship again. But yeah, for me, it is a complete experience. That's what last Holy Cross the game. Lorrha's obviously tactics and their experience as well. They've been hard battling for the last 2 years, basically the same squad. Holy Cross, I feel they probably maybe were too reliant on actually their hurling instead of maybe playing a small bit dirty and running at Lorrha and getting into rucks and things like this. But look, it was an exceptional Lorrha performance, and I was delighted. Look, obviously been close to the lads and in our team as well. Delighted for the lads to get the win, and I got completely overcarried away. I got word of the result of the Nenagh game, that Nenagh got a result. And for anyone watching at home, apologies to everyone in Lorrha maybe watching abroad. I called Lorrha that they were safe. Oh, jeez. We went and got done the maths anyway afterwards. But no, it was one of the games of the weekend for me. It was absolutely exceptional. And look, delighted for Lorrha. But Conor Kennedy, a small mention as well, young fella, 2 points in play. Compared to the first time I saw him against Nenagh in the North Championship, he looked like, I wouldn't say like, he looked like a little boy against Nenagh in the North Championship. He was going in big shoulders, getting his body in rucks, picked off 2 lovely points. And yeah, look, it sets it up nicely for Borris. And I'm hoping to be doing that game when it happens, and there'll be no fighting between two of you, fingers crossed.
Loughmore then against Nenagh, so it finished up 220 to 122. Loughmore just coming through, and there was a late free 2 points down. The whole thing we all talk about when we're in the park as young lads, and Loughmore managed to survive that. Nenagh couldn't have believed when the final whistle went, Shane, that geez, we're through anyway.
Oh no, sure. Like I'd say they couldn't believe their ears when they heard we won. Like they probably would have assumed Holy Cross were going to win, so they knew. And I just wondered. I watched the end of the game. I just wonder when Jake stood over the free, had word come through that we had won, because I think their match might have finished first. I don't know how it was. I know it was in around the same time. But I think.
No, it did finish first because myself and Mark Dunn had notifications on our phone.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So they wouldn't have known, so they could have thought maybe Holy Cross could have scored a late goal or something. So look, they went for it, and Jake got the free, and Paddy Murphy had a great chance. You'd think it was only inches away from tapping a high ball into the net, and that would have been enough for Nenagh to win the group and ourselves to be out of relegation. Just thought it's the beauty of the round 3 games that simultaneous throw-ins. It just creates that sort of environment. But look, I think people will throw shade at Nenagh. It's another game they lost, but I thought they hurled real well in this game. I just thought it was a real good game between 2 really good senior teams that Loughmore managed to edge, and Kieran McCormick's late goal just being decisive. I just thought it was a real good competitive game between 2 teams. If that met another 5 minutes, I could have seen Nenagh winning. So, look, the only worry for Nenagh is they've played 5 matches this year. The 2 wins, the only 2 have been against Lorrha. They've lost the other 3 games narrowly to Toome, Holy Cross, and Loughmore. That's the issue maybe going forward. Is I can see Nenagh winning 1 knockout game, but can I see them winning 3 in a row? That's the thing with Nenagh, is that can they win enough of these back-to-back games consistently? So they've got to find a way. And look, the 3 weeks to the Thurles game will help them, because Jake Morris played with a broken thumb last weekend. Ben West played with 8 stitches in a hand. And I've got it on good source that both of his injuries were from catching slitters. I don't know if you've heard these things, lads, whether there's something with the new slitters out there that are causing hand injuries. I
was last week at training, one of the young lads, so it was like a drill where you're pucking the ball from the goalkeeper out to around the 45, lads come on and catch it. His finger in bits after it. And it was it was cut, so it was just stitches.
Yeah, and then I think that's what happened to Ben West. He was cut and he got ACL. I think Jake's was a slitter thing as well. So there's a freak, or is there something with the new balls, or maybe the fact that they're gone back to the old rims, with the rims. Geez, for years there was nearly no rims on the fucking slitters for a few years, and that's why the balls don't seem to be traveling as far as they were a couple of years ago. Maybe the proper regulation of slitters and having the rims at a certain depth is making the balls drop a little bit shorter as well.
Yeah, just in terms, I was going to say as well, strange things happen in sometimes these games between Nenagh and Loughmore, especially with the crop circles that were in Borris-Ileigh at the weekend.
Jesus, lads, who was shaking the faucet down there?
No, I think there's a bit of a disease at in the grass at the moment, so I think that's
not usually a fertilizer thing when it just sometimes it doesn't spread properly and it just.
I did a bit of cursory, investigation. I just heard the word a bit of it, disease in it. But look, I'm not 100% sure.
I think there's a lot of pitches. Our pitch up in Lorrha is destroyed with freaking. It's like they're like dock leaves and stuff. Like it's, I don't know. Maybe it's just been the summer that certain pitches have just little things getting in on pitches. Like it's. Like it optically, it didn't look great, but I think it played fine. The pitch.
Yeah, it did. So hopefully no one gets on from Borris hammering me now. But that's just what I heard with cursory investigation. But Gary, who in the Loughmore side of things would have impressed you here? Noel McGrath, obviously.
Well, yeah, but just on Nenagh really quickly, suppose Jake obviously played injury, but I think he only got 1 try today, a point from play. So I think that's a really positive for Nenagh. Obviously, they're always too reliant on Jake, but he only got a point, I think, from play or whatever it was. So the rest of 2 points from play, yeah.
I mean, Heffernan had a serious game.
Exactly. So look, obviously against Lorrha, Ben West, he stood up really well. But I think Nenagh, there's a lot of positives to take from that performance. A 2-point defeat against Loughmore. Jake wasn't really on his 100% A game, but look, Loughmore wise, I think Ed Connolly's having a superb year yet again. He's just, the energy he brings is just he's so dynamic as well. If we can take a score from 50-60 yards, but he'll run direct at you as well. And they have the Rissy hurlers and John and Noel and Brian and everyone back there, but I think Ed Connolly is the X factor from this year, and they're really utilising him well. He can play midfield, wing forward. You can throw in full forward, he can run direct at full back as well. But I don't know. I think Eamon Kelly, there's something different about this Loughmore team this year. I don't know what it is, and it's Eamon and I don't know. Eamon has just brought something more from this year. They've been really, really enjoyable to watch back again. And for me, it's them and Kiladangan to lose at the moment. I think Eamon has taken them to the next level.
Yeah, I know it's club hurling, and I think I've said it for 2 years now. If Tip are going to play in a +1 next year, Noel McGrath has to be it. If you want to get another year or two out of him, what he's doing, that there's still no better player in the country to read a game than Noel McGrath. Yeah. I mean, if he still wants to play inter-county, I think at this stage of his career, there's only one position for him, and that's either centre back or as a +1. And if he's still hungry for it, you find a way to get him in there, because he's he's just glorious to watch.
Shane, just a thing about Nenagh then. So I was just looking at their team, and when Philip Hickey, who I think he missed the first game, didn't he? I'm right in saying that.
Yeah,
himself and Sam O'Farrell missed that. But he played this game and he came off after 34 minutes. And I'm not saying that he was setting the game on fire, but he was a bit of a loss. And then, you're probably bringing on younger lads into the forward. And I'm just wondering, Paddy Murphy's really good, big physical player, played in the forwards briefly for Tip as well. I just wonder, would they have to, just in terms of having that extra physical presence, is it too late in the season now to be thinking, well, in terms of the balance and who's available right now, do we nearly need to move him back into the forwards, or do you say, a bit like Joe Gallagher with Kiladangan, he's going well back there in general, and it's nice to have his physical presence for that platform?
Yeah, I don't think they'll move him back to the forwards. I do think they're still trying to find their best team, because you have Conor McCarthy back now. Conor, I know he got sent off at the very end, but he got 45 minutes against us. He got 55 something minutes. He's getting better and better. He adds to their defense. You have Conor Hennessy, who can play wing back or wing forward. I don't think they've hit on maybe the right position for him yet. Mason Cawley's has a place in the team. Sam O'Farrell. I think Adam Healy is very unlucky not to be starting these games. I have great time for him. And he came on and he got a brilliant point there last weekend at wing forward. But the last few years he's been playing mainly a wing back, but he started out mainly as a forward before that. So I think that the issue is for Nenagh. I think Nenagh have about 20, 21 players, throwing Philip McIntyre. I thought he was very effective when he came on, just drifting into the middle of the field, getting on the ball and playing it inside. So I think that is probably a thing for Nenagh. They have about 20 players that can pick, but they haven't stuck probably on that firm 15. Tommy Heffernan missed the first few rounds. He's coming back. He's looking fresh. Where do you get the best out of Mikey Heffernan? Probably centre forward, I think, at this stage, rather than midfield. So I think Nenag's panel in terms of 2021 players they can choose is as good as any's. It's can they get them to gel on the right day?
Okay, well, we'll move on to the next group then, where it was comprehensive enough for Kiladangan, 230 to 16 points against JK Brackens. Clonoulty, Rossmore 323, Templederry Kenyans 120, and Clonoulty will, of course, agonise over that first day when they were well ahead against Kiladangan and didn't see it out, and obviously it's cost them, which we were kind of thinking it would. But Kiladangan, geez, they're serving notice, Gary, to everybody in the county.
Come here, it was frightening. And look, I know Brackens were poor, that's fair enough, and Paddy Cadell was missing, but even with Paddy Cadell, Luke Gorman, Cottle, Scully, they were all missing, but they would have still steamrolled over them. They bullied them. Like, obviously, the hurling always looks after itself, but they completely bullied them. Spoke with Paul after the game, and like they were just going for the jugular. Even with 5 minutes to go, Paul made this run back. He was I can't remember who he was chasing. The game was dead and buried, 20 points up. He ran from the far 21 all the way up to the far 45 chasing, and he did get the hook in, but they're just root. The work rate is just, I don't know how they do it. Willie Connor's back there is just, he's ruling the roost there at wing back, and his vision is just, he's just such a lovely hurler to watch. But like, the one thing for me it's so frustrating from a Brackens point of view is how the hell did they not put a man marker on Alan Flynn? It made no sense whatsoever. Alan is the best centre back in the county, bar none. There's no one in the last decade that is doing a 6-roll like he's doing. Like the 6-roll nowadays is usually 6 is sitting back in the pocket and they're sweeping up. Alan is playing 6, he's playing 8, he's playing 11. Like he's getting 1-2s. He 2-1-2s of Paul in the first half. And he picked up 5 points in play, 4 points in play the last day. It's just phenomenal what he's doing and how teams are not copped on and put someone on him to follow him around all day, because you stop Alan and you stop the ball going in, you stop the physicality and you stop the running game as well. But again, it was a freak performance. Again, there's no power rankings this year. You're going very slack in this year, Shane. But
I could probably go in there now, but now I can do the top power rankings. But they're teams anyway. So
Shane, next week's quieter. Save it for that. There's less going on. Shane, who impressed you here for Kiladangan?
Sure, like Alan Flynn. Jesus, lads, seriously.
5 from play.
Yeah, like he's got to get a phone call to come back in, lads. He's got offered him into chance. Like I just think, okay, maybe 30, but lads, he's exactly what Tipper need. Whatever about hurling, his leadership, his desire, like he just. I do think like Tip need it. It's not just hurlers Tip need going forward. It's men. It's lads with a fucking desire, and he has it. He has it. Like so, like but like. The whole Kiladangan team look like a team that know that look, this is our time now. We've got to strike while the iron's hot. Underage things are slackened off a small bit, so they know that probably they're in the middle of their era now, where they've got to strike. And of course, they're making the best out of it. Like, and you have Sean Hayes to come back probably in the next few weeks, like to bolster. But they're not missing. Like Billy Seymour's a guy who's having another fantastic championship. Centre forward, stick the ball down on top of me, and I'll win it. Again, I think I said it on the show a few weeks ago. I'd love to see Liam Cahill go to Billy Seymour. Billy, 6 National League matches next year. You're starting all 6 of them. Doesn't matter if you're crap in the first 2. You're starting all 6. And give him that confidence to know that, okay, I have breathing room to develop here. But it's like, because he has the physical attributes, he has the bit of leadership. But just Kiladangan, they just look like the complete team at the moment. Brackens, a lot. It reminded me a lot like the Moycarkey game in the mid semi-final, where they came off the high of the Holy Cross win, and it just looked like they weren't tuned in at all. It was as if they knew, Paddy's not playing, Call's not playing. They kind of knew they were qualified, and Jesus, like they brought very, very little intensity to it. Like particularly out of possession. Like every time Kiladangan had the ball, it was too easy for them to get up the field. Like nobody was putting in a shoulder or a tackle. So look. But Brackens have shown they can respond to that. So I think Toome wouldn't want to read anything into that game ahead of the Brackens quarterfinals. We know Brackens, and I know Brackens in the stadium, big open field. Andy Ormond, Jamie Ormond, Lyndon Fairbrother, like they can still score big time. So look, Kiladangan were good, but I would give Brackens the benefit of the doubt. That was just an off day. And look, we've seen it this championship. A team that can have an off day can get absolutely destroyed, but they can recover just as quick the next day.
Yeah, and the other game in the group, Clonoulty Rossmore 323, Templederry Kenyans 120, and man of the match in the Nenagh Guardian there, Michael Ryan. I presume that's Michael Ryan Winnie, who doing a bit of commentary hasn't exactly kind of, you know, really say talking to the media, you know, players can go in, too much pressure and all that. Didn't seem to bother him after his commentary duties early in the championship, Gary.
No, not at all. Winnie's good old crack. Look, listen, we won't go there about that, but no, Winnie again, and he actually got man of the match against Kiladangan as well. Like he's not anything stylish, but he's a lovely risky hurler, but he's an absolute dog, works so hard, and he's so important that Clonoulty team. But again, look, we can talk all we want about this game, but this game was lost for Clonoulty against Kiladangan, simple as that. Like 10 points up, 10 minutes ago, game dead and buried. So Darren Chucky Moore getting that last puck of the game to basically knock Clonoulty out. So they've only got themselves to blame. And obviously no West Championship this year. But look, Templederry, they're going to relegation now. But Templederry, again, like the game against Holy Cross last year, we never even touching that. Deja vu for Holy Cross losing the last day, Templederry last year and last day against Lorrha this year. Templederry will fancy themselves in a relegation battle as well. They're the most experienced of the 4 teams down there. Ado is back. I know he kind of went off there again, but no, look, Clonoulty, decent performance without flattering, but again, that game in Borris-Ileigh completely ruined their championship.
I suppose the thing for Templederry is they can score. They have forwards, I thought they played Sean Ryan in sort of a deeper role at the weekend. Still chipped in with these scores again, but Jason O'Dwyer made a couple of big saves in the first half for Clonoulty. So and when Templederry had the breeze, that Templederry went in a point down. They probably needed 4, 5, 6 points of a lead with that breeze playing down the hill in the rag in the second half. And look, they've got a very soft goal to go ahead. But in fairness to Clonoulty, that goal sparked them into life, and they really took off from there. Robert Doyle, another one, I think, has attributes to play into a county, just very athletic, got a cracking goal. And look, so yeah, Clonoulty will probably root a Kiladangan match where that point cost them probably qualifying. There's a bit of chatter since then about Clonoulty only got 3 games at no West Championship. How do you go about maybe evening out, making sure everybody gets 4 games in the championship? I don't know how they could do it, but of course,
get rid of the divisions. Make the league more important. Make the league longer.
I don't think there'll be any appetite for that yet. But look, I suppose the simple solution is the West needs to pick things up. And look, I wouldn't rule out Aerogan or Carty or Cashel winning it in Premier Intermediate coming up. So look, we'll see how that plays out over the next few weeks. Maybe the West Senior Championship might be back next year.
Yeah, just a reminder then, the relegation clashes are Borris-Ileigh against Lorrha and Roscrea against Templederry. You mentioned earlier 4 teams from the north in the quarterfinals. All 4 teams in relegation are from the north as well, Shane. So, you know.
Yeah, man, I suppose, look, I'd be optimistic. I say Lorrha were the one team probably going in with a bit of momentum because we came off a win, whereas the other 3 are coming in off losses. But look, pitches are getting slower. It's all about mentality, and you think Templederry, they've been in relegation 2 years ago, they got out of it, so they know what's coming. I suppose we were in relegation Premier Intermediate 3 years ago, so it's kind of used to what Roscrea were in relegation a couple of years ago. Senior went down to Holy Cross to bounce back. I don't think Borris-Ileigh been in relegation trouble in my time. I don't think so anyway. But look, it's I suppose the thing is, all the teams are 3 weeks now before those games, and how interesting. I think that's a lot of time to stew over things so. Look, I found over the years the relegation matches are nearly better than the knockout Dan Breen games. There's nearly more at stake.
Yeah. Okay. I'll run through the results in Premier Intermediate. Shane, you might be able to give us the quarterfinal appearance then. So Upper Church Drumban 419, Ballina 15, Silvermines 122, Carrick Swan 23. Group 2 saw Cashel King Cormac score 316, Éire Óg and Carty 25, so that was a draw. Gortnahoe Glen Gould 21 points, Moyne Templederry 20. Group 3, Borlath and Douala 116, Newport 16. Thurles Sarsfield second team 219, Clonakilty 212, and then Group 4 saw Burgess 416, Sean Tracy's 117, and Killinall 13, St Mary's 115. Shane?
Yeah, so like there's no quarter-final draw made yet, but there is one preliminary quarter-final, and that's Cashel against Borris-Ileigh. Now, I tell you, that is going to be sweet. That's a derby fight. That is going to be spiky. There's going to be a massive crowd in Dundrum on Sunday week for that now, because it's the sash against the boys in the road. Like, and I say most of Borris-Ileigh young lads will go to school in Cashel, so like that's going to be spicy. The one game I did see in this championship this week was Éire Óg and Cashel. I thought Éire Óg were very, very good. I thought, look, they left it behind them. Look, it was 25 scores to 19. It was a draw, but 25 scores to 19. Éire Óg would be disappointed with the manner of some of the goals that they conceded, but I thought some of the hurling Éire Óg had in that game was lovely. And Derek Kelly is impressing me every game. I think he's still underage for under 20 next year, or maybe there's 2 years to go. Like, he was very, very good. Lovely, nippy corner forward, bit of size to him. So, look, I think there's a lot. I think they're one team that's shaping up nicely. I think Upper Church Stromban are beginning to find a bit of mojo. Carrick Swans rested guys against the Silver Mines. So, look, you think they're there. St Mary's continue to confound us all. Look, I thought Killinall the country boys would beat the Townies, but the Townies have sent Killinall packing. And look, in some ways, I'm not surprised. I think Killinall's name is carrying them a lot of weight at the moment. I just don't think they're producing it the last few years to say they're among the challengers at the moment. And like at underage, Killinall are not winning 8 championships in the south. So look, I think maybe Killinall are where they are. Like, they're not. People say they should be seniors. I'm not sure where they are at the moment. I don't think they are where they are at the moment, and that's not good enough to make a county quarter final. Yeah,
the top seeds that the teams that did get through as top seeds are Carrick Swan, Éire Óg, and Carty, Thurles Sarsfields, and Mary's. And
trying Thurles again, Pa Burke, Jesus, that team at Premier Intermediate level. I know he's 35, 36, but Jesus, like, he can still make a ball sing.
Yeah, and then the second seeds going through are Upper Church, Gortnahoe, Borlath, as we said, who are against Cashel and Burgess. So, Gary, anything you'd pick out in terms of those final results?
I did Thurles game, the Upper Church game. Upper Church, look, they won by 18 or something in the end. They got 4-18, 4-17 from play. And I wouldn't say they got out with third or fourth gear. Liam Dunphy was not happy with the performance at all. Ballina were still with him at the start of the second half. They got a goal from Pat Ryan. Upper Church, they're short price favourites for the county. How, I don't know, because they haven't kicked on from the county league. But look, they're still there in the county quarter final again. Liam Dunphy was not happy with the performance, even though they won by 18 points. Thurles were very slick at the weekend, very slick. They went in, I think, 12-13 points up half time. Definitely subconsciously kicked into them at half time. This game is dead and buried. Clonakilty came at him. But they look really well rounded. Kiladangan, the young fella inside, full forward. He got a man of the match in the end. Pa Burke, 5 from play. Conor Lanigan, 4 from play. For me, I'd have Thurles as my favourites for the Premier Intermediate at the moment. They're just pouring along nicely. Mikey Cal looks like an 18-year-old back there again. All his injuries are gone. He's absolutely bouncing off the ground. He's mopping up so much ball. And trying to look at my notes here as well. And I have Kieran Maloney as well. Kieran Maloney was absolutely exceptional. Keane Dwyer did not get a sniff apart from 1 or 2 shots. But for me, Thurles would be my number 1 at the moment. Church probably second. And Carty are pouring along nicely. They're a very well-rounded team. With Dara inside, Brian Fox, Conor O'Brien, Donald Dwyer. They have a lovely balance of a team. But again, this Premier Intermediate, any of the 8 teams could genuinely win it.
Yeah. And just a reminder, the relegation semi-finals are Tracy's against Silver Mines and Newport against Moyne Templederry. There's a preliminary quarter-final also in the intermediate. That'll be Drum against Borris-Ileigh, and the relegation semi-finals are going to be Arvale Rovers against Ballybacon Grange and Skeena Rinky against Upper Church Stromban. I'll just go through the results from the weekend, and then we'll talk about all the teams that got through as top seeds and second seeds. Group 1 saw Golden Kilfeacle beat Ballybacon Grange 2-18 to 12 points. Kappa White saw off Clonoulty Rossmore 3-16 to 15. Group 2, Borris-Ileigh 121, Kilsheelan and Kilcash 118. Ballingarry wasn't a walkover over Skeheenarinky. Drummond-Inch, the second team, 115-16 against Arvale. Shannon Rovers 116, Portrue 114. Carrickdavins in Group 4, 112, Knockavilla, Donegal, Kickham's 18, and Moneygall 527, continuing their rich vein of form. Upperchurch 12 points. So that means the Intermediate Championship, the top seeds are Golden Kilfeacle, Ballingarry, Shannon Rovers, Moneygall. The runners-up, Capo White, Borris-Ileigh and Portrue, Knockavilla, Donegal, Kickham's. And we already mentioned that quarterfinal preliminary against Drummond-Inch. Shane, take it away there.
Yeah, sure. Look, Moneygall, Golden got their business done. They're still flying away. Ballingarry got a walkover, disappointing. Disappointed, especially in the main 3 championships to see what. I know it was a dead game, but you would have thought maybe Skeheenarinky would have used it as a tune-up game for relegation. And interesting one there. They're up against Upperchurch Strumban. James Barry now hurling for Skeheenarinky up against his old club in Upperchurch. And I know it's not Upperchurch's first team, but I suppose at least it's only a semi-final. Whoever loses will have one more chance to save themselves. But look, I suppose a couple of notable results. Borris-Ileigh beaten Kilsheelan. But look, that's not... Just looking at the names that weren't on the Kilsheelan team from the final 3 years ago. No Bill Maher, no Mark Keogh suspended, no Martin Gibbs. Like, they were so short of what they usually have. But look, Borris-Ileigh did what they had to do into a preliminary quarter final against Drum. I think they'd fancy their chances in that. So, and look, I know Borris-Ileigh for a long time, when they get a bit of momentum, they're very, very hard to beat. It's just they can be a bit streaky like that. When they start losing a few games, they can maybe feel a little despondent. But when they're on song, like an Oisin, to have Oisin Larkin flying at Philip Austin, still contributing, Conor Ryan, Gary Ryan didn't even play last weekend. So look, they have some good players there. Kieran Foley, tip under 20, and in the CBS. So and then look, Shannon Rovers, 3 wins from 3. They bounced back from that Moneygall trashing. Brilliant finish from Eamon Hock to win the game against Portrue. Bang! Like, to beat a goalie of Darren Gleeson's caliber, like it was a good 21 yards out and an angle, and he got fair power in it. Like, great finish. And look, they're a lot like Borris-Ileigh, and when the Rovers are confident and on a winning run, they're a very, very hard team to play against. They're in a quarter final. Moneygall are between Port. Yeah, so like it's shaping up nicely, but I still think the winner is going to come from one of Moneygall or Golden, and just because look, the scoring Moneygall have Sean Kennelly, Joe Fogarty, Sean Fogarty, Adam Hogan got 2-3 from play. I just think their scoring power is going to be too much. I think that I'd be under. Look, they can be beaten, but geez, I think that it'll take a very, very good team to beat them.
Yeah, Gary, I know you probably have to head out the door there. Only just noticed the time, but any final thoughts?
Okay.
Okay, any thoughts on the intermediate?
Oh, geez, loads actually. Look, I think Rovers have been the story of the championship so far. I had them down as one of my 4 for relegation after that hammering against Moneygall. But then again, Moneygall have just gotten better and better in every game. The only team that beat Moneygall is themselves, and I can't see that happen. They were so slick. They're hurling at per intermediate level. The 5:27, but again, the work rate from the first minute to the last minute, even in injury time, forwards are chasing, harassing. They're hurling at a completely different level to everyone else in the county at the moment. Golden, again, I echo that with Shane, with Ben Curvin and Jack Leamy. They'll be the ones that'll be chasing them. Outside of that, I don't know. I can't trust Ballingarry. Borris-Ileigh, and again, compared to our championship, they've kicked on.
I think if I heard Ballingarry have a player now who gets to suspended for quarter final because a walkover doesn't count. I think that's something that needs to be sorted out. That if an opponent gives away a walkover, that should count as your suspension. Now, if Ballingarry conceded a walkover, you'd say okay, carry on the suspension. But I think if an opponent concedes a walkover, there's no way that player should be penalised for missing a quarter final just because the other team wouldn't field. Like that regulation needs to be tidied up. That's very unfair.
I wanted to bring that up because I think that's an absolute scandal of a decision. And again, Jay is great and everything, but we're so bloody backward in our rules and regulations at times. This should be something, I don't know if it's go to the Tip CCC or Croke Park or wherever. That red card should be overturned, simple as that. Or it should be his game was served in that postponed game or conceded game. It's an absolute disgrace. And if Ballingarry lose a county quarter final by a point or two, and one of their main players, that their full back misses the game, like it's an absolute disgrace. It is, and something should be done about it. But sure, it's a bit late now anyway at this stage.
Well, Gary, can I even add in that, like, if you give a walkover to a team during, like, if you give a walkover mid-championship, you should be automatically relegated, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it should be relegated, or it should be definitely thrown out of competition, or something, or a massive fine, because, like, again, the Ski they're being cute about. There are obviously a few boys injured or injured, or trying to rest a few boys, and look, I suppose use the rules to their advantage, but. Again, there's no, like, what are Ski Rinky getting a fine for this? Are they getting any punishment?
They will get a fine, like,
and I guarantee it. Sorry for interrupting, Shane. Like, they're going to beat Upper Church. Upper Church, look, they were very poor Friday night. No disrespect them. It's their second team. Ski Rinky will beat them. But again, for me, and that's a good point, Shane. I think anyone who concedes a game without any due reason, like unless it's a debt in the parish or something like that, they should be completely thrown out of competition, because Ballingarry are now absolutely looped with missing their player in the county quarter final, and Skin Rinky are going to be fresh as daisies against Upper Church.
Shane?
Yeah, no, I think that's a regulation that could be easily tidied up. If the opponent concedes the walkover, that should count as your suspension. But if your team that has the red card concedes the walkover, then that suspension carries on to the next game, because it's just one of those things that I think it's all about fairness at the end of the day, like, so.
Maybe a final thing, Gary, before we let you go. Darren Gleeson has been, he's set to be ratified as the new Laois manager. He's been in charge of Antrim for a number of years, had a couple of Joe McDonough successes. So presumably the county board are looking at it and thinking, right, he's able to get it done in the second tier. Maybe he could be the man to do it for us this time.
Yeah, I think that's an absolute massive coup for Laois. Obviously, look, I'd imagine Darren left Antrim because of the travel. Like, he was up there 4 years, and he did an unbelievable job up there. Because when Darren was going, I have a few friends I know up there. They were very disappointed he was leaving. He did a great job at them. Like, that's a massive coup for Laois. And look, Laois need a bit of stability as well. They've had a couple of different managers over the last few years, and fairness to the boys that were there this year, they did a good job at them as well. But it's only out the road for Darren. It's close enough for him. If he's there 2 or 3 years, more power to him. And look, again, he's building up a nice CV as well. If we want to be looking in house for next couple of candidates after Liam Cahill, we've obviously James Woodlock, Brendan Cummins. Darren has probably the most experience of them all. Exactly, yeah. So no, listen, I wish him the very best, and I hope to God Laois can get a couple of things done with him, because they've got a gem in him. He's going places, I think. Okay, well, look, Gary, thanks very much for joining us, and sure, no doubt we'll be hearing you very soon. See you there, lads. Take care. Thanks very much. Yeah. No, it's a good appointment, and it just shows you that Darren has ambitions. Like, 6 years at Antrim, 5 as manager. Like, that's a fair commitment. Like, and look, you go to Laois, he won 2 McDonoughs, so he knows what needs to be done in that competition. Laois very narrowly lost this year's final. I suppose the thing with Laois every year is, there's always a handful of guys that don't commit for the following year. Can he get the very best out of all the Laois players to commit next year? Because look, you have Carlo there, you have Westmeath, like, very Kerry, like, so. I see the Kerry job has been filled yesterday. They've stayed at home for the first time in about 17 years, John Griffin. So look, that can work one or two ways, whether the club rivalries maybe upset things, or maybe John Griffin would pull the thing together, or maybe I had to fallen off a bit the last few years. So that leaves, look, we assume Micheál Donoghue is getting Galway. So Dublin is probably the last one, isn't it? And Westmeath. Has Westmeath been filled? Yes. Oh God, who did? Just give me a second. Oh, I'd say they're in house, aren't they? They have Sterling. No, Saoirse Bulfin. Oh, Saoirse, yes. Sorry, yeah. It was on the tip of my tongue. I just couldn't think of it. Yeah. So yeah, that'll be an interesting one. We'll keep an eye on how that goes. The football championship. Are you hearing rumours in Dublin? What's gone very quiet? Honestly, like, even last night, bumping into different people from different clubs. Actually, the last couple of nights, nobody really knows. So you'd hear some people say maybe Shane O'Brien, who's previously a Westmeath manager, and he's Joe Fortune. Yeah, Joe. I thought Joe is very well got. Like, would he be?
like there's if they were to stay within the county, there's some very able people, and but then there's one name that keeps coming into my head, and I'm thinking, would he do it? That's Liam Sheedy. If he got the call.
Yeah, another name that I'd be thinking is Eddie Brennan as well, because he has been involved up here before, and he'd be well got. So plenty of different names to look at there. The Tip Football Championship is getting up and running again this weekend. Will I quickly run through the fixtures then, and you can pick out? Just Friday evening in Group 2, Ballina against Upperchurch, that's in Newport. Then on Saturday, Ardfinnan are against Grange, Moakler, Ballyneal. Also in the same Group 1, Kilsheal and Kilcash are against Brackens. And on Sunday, Arravale Rovers against Loughmore, Ballyperrine against Killenaul, and Clonmel Commercials against Moyle Rovers.
Yeah, I suppose, and added to that is the fact that I suppose we the worst kept secret in the county was confirmed last night with Philly Ryan appointed as manager for 3 years, a review after 2. So, look, I'm sure anybody with...
Who let out the secret though, Shane?
I had it about a month ago, but I was waiting for the official announcement. So, yeah, Paul Cahill of Grange Moakler and Ger Corcoran of Jacob Brackens are selectors. So, look, we know Paul or Philly bleeds Tipperary football. So, look, I think he'll go to probably all under 19 matches over the next while, intermediate, junior B to find talent. And look, he's a good personality about him. So like I hope it works out for him. And look, he's going to get to see some good games this weekend, like Commercials against Moyle Rovers, always a right good game. And while both of them will get to the quarterfinals, the winner of this will be a top seed, so maybe potentially get an easier quarterfinal. So I think there'll be a bit of an edge to that game in Kilsheal. And Loughmore against Arravale. Loughmore are probably as good as qualified as well, but Arravale probably need at least a draw to get through, because I think if Killenaul beat Ballyperrine, we know with Killenaul out of hurling, they can go all in on football. They would beat Arravale in head-to-head. So I think Arravale probably know they have to get some bit of a result against Loughmore. Ballina against Upperchurch, second match in 6 days between them, this time in football. Ballina are just so badly hit with injuries. Like, you think no Stephen O'Brien again last weekend for the hurling, no Owen Power. If these injured, they're just injuries are coming at the wrong time for them. I think Upperchurch will probably get through there. I think the fact that Brackens can afford to lose by, I think, 10 points or more to Kilsheal and still qualify. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe anybody with a bit of an niggling injury will be rested again. But I don't think they'd want to go into a county hurling quarter-final and a downer of football. So maybe they might go full strength and say, okay, lads, we can't afford to throw in another bad performance. And then you have Kilsheal now, who have only the football to focus on. And we know, look how much talent they have and when they put it together. So if Kilsheal win, it opens their door for Ardfinnan as well, and they play Grange Moakler. So there's a lot at stake this week. And I know, look, it hasn't been a great championship so far, but just particularly for the clubs that maybe are just on the outside of the quarterfinals, there's a lot to go after this weekend.
Yeah. Okay. I might go through some of the Camogie here. I might get you to start it off there. I don't have the notes.
The championship started last weekend. I suppose seniors, 10 teams, 2 groups of 5. I suppose the notable one was probably Thurles Arsefields beating Clonoulty Rossmore. Like, Clonoulty lost the last couple of finals. Thurles are the up-and-coming team. They have Karen Kendi. They have some of the best young players coming through in the county. Lucy Purcell, Cueva Stakelum, just the Loughnans. I think they'll win a county in the next few years. I think that was a statement win now to go to Clonoulty and win on Saturday evening. Champions Drummond-Inch, very, very dominant again over Moycarkey, 4-16-8. I thought that'd be an awful lot closer, but Moycarkey have a lot of good players, but Drum just still very, very strong. Shannon Rovers, first year up senior, narrow win over Silvermine, so it's a great start for them. And of course, your own Borris-Ileigh beat Kickens on Friday night, came from behind. It was a 4-12 to 3-8. Nicole Walsh back out the field, playing very, very well, and so
scored 2-9.
Yeah, scored. Yeah, this was maybe giving Dennis maybe a little think of, okay, if you want to try somebody else in goals, maybe I'll do something for your forward line next year. So it's a good start to the competition. The second round is on this weekend. What's the key game? I think Anacarty against Duharrell will be good. Silvermines against Cashel, Thurles and Shannon Rovers, and Kickham's. I think Borris-Ileigh are the odd team out this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. So I think they're all on Saturday evening.
Tip as well over the weekend won the Arbonne. So again, we're talking about all the different progress at underage. So nice to win that. Obviously, the minors won the All Ireland. The under-20s won Munster. So it's not all bad news around Tip.
No. And look, I'm not. I suppose I didn't do too much in the paper about it because I know, look, the county board and Ogre, while it's nice to win things, it's not the be all and end all. It's all about development. But to beat Kilkenny in any final was a 6-12 to 4-3 or something. And I just one thing from speaking to a couple of people about it, and it was noticeable the S&C advantage Tip looked like they had over Kilkenny. And this group of under 15s, they were the group, I think the first group that started with that Santa link up at the start of maybe last year or the end of 2022. The first crop of under 14s that came in at day one. And that's the encouraging thing for me, that we look like we're doing the right things. S&C level, of course, the hurling will always be there, that we're going to we're coming nicely. Looking, you think what James Woodlock staying on for next year, you think, Jesus, there's an abundance of talent coming through that Tip could go a long way maybe to defending their All Ireland title. We know different things can happen, but look, it does look like we have our ducks in a row at underage at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else before we finish up?
I'm not sure how are things going in Dublin at the moment.
Well, some teams have the way Dublin, the hurling championship is set up. You've groups of 5, so some teams have played 2 group games at this stage. Some have played 3. So for the lads I'm over, it'll be a first game in 6 weeks this weekend. So middle of the group.
God, that would take an edge off, you're losing focus and stuff like that. So
yeah, so a lot of them would have played a lot of football in the meantime. So you know what that can be like. Well, actually, you don't. No. You don't have to deal with 2 codes there. But look, that's the way it's going. Right, we'll leave it at that. So we'll be back again next week with plenty more, folks, and we'll chat to you next week.
We wanted to build up next week.
Yeah.